welcome to another edition of CEO and Market Expert Interviews. I'm your host, Lucian. Some of you know me as Triangle Investor from social medias. Delighted to have once again my dear friend Kasper Rasmussen, aka Uselink, in my show. We did a video last week, I believe it was Sunday also, and I got a lot of questions why we didn't touch on some Australian uranium stocks. Kasper, as a true friend and a great guy like he is, he indulged my request for another video. So here he is. Kasper, welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you, Lucian. Yeah, it's been 2 Sundays in a row, so let's not make it too much of a trend here.
No, don't worry. We will do this Sunday and no Sunday.
Next Sunday will be
Our
no, I mean,
for our families, of course.
yeah, exactly. No, I mean it's I love to do this, and yeah, whenever I have time, we try to get things in order so we can do this. And again, we've been speaking, and we will try to do it like once a month, roughly plus minus a week or so. But whenever we can fit our schedules, we will make something happen. If it's gold, silver, whatever it is, we will try to do.
Yeah, thank you in advance, Kasper. I really appreciate that. Let's get to work. Today we will cover 10 Australian uranium companies with your technical analysis. That will be Toro Energy, GTI Resources, Bannerman, Deep Yellow, Paladin, Aligator. I believe that's seven. Eleveate Uranium. I don't know if I said it. Lotus and Peninsula. Yeah, that's right.
Correctly.
Let's maybe start in that order. Bannerman first. How is the chart looking?
Let's look at Bannerman. And by the way, before I go, I will. I have a little bit, at least what I think is a surprise for this video. We have some ratios that is very, very interesting here. This is not for the Australian ones, but more like the for the Canadian stocks. But we will look at those, during the video here because they are, I think, very good. Which one did we start? Should we start?
Okay, we can start with Toro. No problem.
Okay. Yeah, we just take the list from down there. I guess it's just
sure.
It makes more sense. So
yeah,
this is Toro Energy. Goes back a long way. Basically, it has been in a downtrend ever since it got published, more or less, if you look at it from the long-term perspective. So we will zoom in here and look at the past 4 years because, again, in my opinion, the past 4 years is the most important because that's basically when the entire uranium market bottomed out in with the COVID lows. But yeah, we have it had a big run, like everything basically had during that period, and ever since it has been a really, really boring friendship, you can say here, and still is, we're still trending down, still, within this little red wedge pattern here, starting to get back below our blue. Overall, you can see it here. If we zoom out a bit, here we have a big blue parallel. Again, we're trying to curl below. Again, not ideal. So right now for TOE or Toro, there is not a lot going on. I will say when we break out of this red wedge here, which will happen depending on the speed of things, but let's round it up here. When we get above like 40 cents, maybe a little bit below, that is when Toro Energy should start to see some upside. We have the lows here. That is basically a good place to start. So if we break out and getting above that 40 cents, that's when you again could be considering Toro. But for now, it's not the best option for sure. And as we look into some of the other stocks, you can see they have been performing 10 times better, 20 times better. So so Toro might be a low, a late bloomer, but right now there's really not much going on, in my opinion, at least for Toro.
Okay. Let's look at GTI Resources.
GTR. Again, just a quick reminder, this is a $10 million market cap company, so extremely low cap. So these are very difficult to predict and trade due to the low liquidity and all that. So you can basically see here every time one guy is buying, you're basically increasing like 30% or dropping 30%. So if you want to get in to such a low stock here, at least my advice is to use extremely low sizing here in relation to your overall portfolio. That's just a very good thing to do. And yeah, basically, in my opinion, still just like Toro coming down here, nothing much. We're in this blue Parallel here, channel here. Again, nothing much to it. Getting below, again, the COVID lows, not a great sign neither. But again, volume-wise, this is, again, you're basically, every time one share is traded, you're basically jumping up and down like, 30%, 40%. So it might have to do with some liquidity stuff there. But again, we need to wait for this blue channel to break. Until then, I guess it's just a stock that you shouldn't be into unless you really want to buy at the lows. Then I guess you can buy this overall golden channel here. So if you want to fish deeply into the barrel at some point in time, I guess you can get it all the way down here if that is what you want to do from. But right now it's in the middle of nothing, and it needs a lot more time to show what if it still is going to come down, or if it wants to join the uranium party, which I think will be on our hands here really shortly. So.
Yeah. So sorry, I said GTI Resources. It's not the Resources, it's GTI Energy. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's move to the next one, boss. BOE.
BOE, yeah. And again, just look at the difference compared to the first two, right? BOE has actually done insanely well. Actually, for the past 10 years, it has just been grinding up heavily. Beautiful golden uptrend here. You can just see we're basically up. How much are we up really? Ever since we really load there, you can just see it has been done insanely well from 2014, and even from 2020, which is here, right? It has just been gone up. We did lose this little red uptrend here, which is never ideal. So right now we're actually making some lower lows and lower highs. But again, the main trend is still very much intact, and that is the golden uptrend. So again, if you're lucky and you can get it to buy right there at roughly 1.8, I guess that is a beautiful entry in this stock here. Right now it is still coming down to a lot of supply, which is basically this little wedge pattern breakout here.
Yeah.
So hopefully, again, we're trying to find some sort of low here, but right now it is basically in the middle of nowhere. You don't really know. I mean, the long-term trend is up. The very long-term trend is up, but right now, short-term here, looking the past 6 months or so, we are coming down. You can also see the 30 weekly here sloping down. So right now it is still long-term is trying to, again, to push it up, but the short-term is really, really strong right now. But again, my opinion, if you hold it, I mean, from a very long-term perspective, it's still looking okay. But you have to, again, acknowledge that maybe, I don't think it will happen due to the overall uranium market, but we could go down to 1.8 if you're really unlucky. So
yeah.
So
let's see what John Barshoff has for us. Deep Yellow.
Deep Yellow. So Deep Yellow, I actually want to zoom out just a tiny bit here, because we are, let's remove that because that might, be a little bit messy. I want you to look at this. Again, perfect parallel channel right there. 20 years. That's 20 years worth of downward, parallel. And then also internally, you had some decent breaks where you broke out testing. So to me, the big thing will happen again once we start to break, hopefully to the upside of that long-term down red parallel there. And as you can see, we have been trying to hit quite a few times here, at least once, right? But you could argue 3 times depending on how good you are to align that red line there. So basically, as long as we hold above the golden rail, we should, and I say should, try to push up here. And also you have a lot of support right here at roughly 90 cents. So yeah, again, getting above.
Kasper, this looks like a triple top. What does it triple top means? Is that a bearish signal or bullish signal?
I mean, that is that's always up to discussion. But again, if you remember gold, where you had a flat top and you touched it, I think 3 times.
Yeah.
They are usually broken. Right now, it's a little bit more bearish because you have, again, you can see it's not perfect triple top. It's basically could be some topping pattern into that. So again, it's not as bullish as gold were, from 2020 into like 2023. But right now we are still above the major breakouts here, and you can also see we have a support coming up from here. So again, that is just, oops, excuse me, that should be, again, it should, what's going on here? There it is. Boom.
Yeah.
You have the blue uptrend from the March 2020 lows as well, still holding. So unless we start to break down below, like, let's call it here, 90 cents, 85, that's when things get a little bit dangerous. But yeah, this is
Yeah.
just what you're waiting for. That little triangle, that is your little what you want to
I
wait
love
for.
triangles usually. Maybe
Yeah,
not
oh yeah,
so much
triangle,
in
yeah.
charts.
No, but I mean, you have some short term, again, potentially some bearishness to it. But
Yeah.
again, the long term trend is still pushing up. So we will see which one wins. That's all you can do, really. So
Yeah, understood. Let's move to the next one, Bannerman Energy, BMN.
BMN. I want to zoom out here just a tiny bit. Again, what we talked about, the big entry that there were in 2020. Again, I keep looking back because it was such a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful long-term entry. Again, if you get these entries right, again, if it's in gold, it doesn't matter if it's in tech, whatever. I mean, you should be able to withstand a lot of pullbacks because you have such a beautiful entry. And right now here, Bannerman, we have major resistance here at roughly 4.3. A little bit of a peak above there, but we did manage to make another high here. So overall, I'm still in the camp that, again, this should be some sort of cup and handle play. It should be, depending on how you want to form it here. A little bit dangerous if we start to lose again here, this uptrend. But right now, if we zoom in, you can actually see that
Yeah.
we are having a little bit of a wedge pattern going on into that uptrend. So hopefully we start to move up here and curl from that uptrend. For the good old Bannerman here. The monthly, again, you can also argue, again, this big rounding bottom that is trying to be put in place. So, but again, that is, again, for the long-term picture, we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5 years out here, if that is the case. So definitely not, in 2 hours when the markets are opening.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. We will see. Definitely. Let's move on. I
Peninsula.
believe that this chart is a little bit messy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's not the most picture perfect like you sometimes see. You have
Yeah.
these, extremely perfect, ticks to the chart. Right now, this is a little bit messy.
Yeah.
For sure, that is true. That's a very good observation. But again, there's still some symmetry to it. But it did also this puncture here of that trend line. Again, then you start to be a little bit worried, right, when you don't have these picture perfect touches there. But still, overall, I think that's a cup and handle. That is still my thesis until proven otherwise, really. So
Okay, got it. Let's move to Peninsula.
Peninsula. I know from X, at least I've heard that Peninsula has some great fundamentals. They're trying to build a mine, all that good stuff. But again, as I've also been mentioning to the people that follow me on Substack, that there's no reason right now to be in Peninsula until actually last week. You might want to buy this double bottom here, potential double bottom. But again, it has just been a huge pain, investment really. So again, just in my opinion, it just going to show you that again, fundamentals can be great, but again, the technicals is the one that is telling the real story when to get in. And if you don't want to buy this double bottom here, you basically want to wait for this blue. I will not call it a bull flag because it's so long, but like a bullish channel, you can say. If we get above like $2 here, then that is probably when this has bottomed out and is trying to go higher. But overall, it's still a little bit of a boring or scary chart, you can say. Such great fundamentals, but just can't seem to really get going here.
Yeah, but what is the worst case scenario with this? If it breaks down, how low can it go?
Again, that's always difficult, but there should be some support of this green one here, roughly 70 cents.
70. Okay, 70.
70, yeah, that's probably where you should see some support. Again, when you get these potential big flushes here, sometimes levels and trend lines get nullified. So So yeah, but I think the worst case is actually the low side of this golden here, which I don't think will happen, but that's definitely in the cards because this was such a important parallel for like 10 years, and then we tried to break out to some degree here, and then again you could see a huge collapse into like
Well, I believe that,
25.
yeah, that would probably be market meltdown to
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
13 cents. Did I see it right? 13 cents
Yeah,
is in the car. Yeah.
yeah, 30, yeah. So, but again, I agree that will be overall the markets will be in a rough shape for sure if that is going to happen. But again, hitting the green there at like 75, that is still well within the cards really if we don't hold this double bottom, but potential double bottom here.
Yeah. Actually, pretty interesting chart.
Yeah, it's been 3 years actually, just grinding sideways to down, and hasn't really been picking a direction other than just stalling out really and having a lot of investors in frustration really. Why isn't it going up right with these beautiful fundamentals that Peninsula actually has? So
Yeah, Peninsula had a lot of problems in the last, yeah, with the production, with the
mm,
CEO. So, okay, but that is the topic for another interview. Let's move to Eleveate Uranium, EL8.
EL8, yes. This one I actually cleaned up just a bit here for this video, and yeah, Peninsula had a huge collapse. Basically, as we talked about last time, at the end of big moves comes, this spike to the upside or complete collapse. And we saw that during, 2020 here. And we started to rally heavily. We broke the 2020 uptrend and basically gone sideways for like 3 years or so. But we do have a little bit of an order to the madness here. You can see that actually we have, again, this little triangle going on here. So so right now we're sitting at the lows here. Again, in my opinion, if you want to get into Elevate, you could start to be buying here at like 27 cents roughly. But again, your risk comes if you take out that low there at like 25 cents. Then again, you should probably, if you want to play with the stop loss, that's probably where you might want to look into that. But if you want to play the breakout, the big breakout will happen from this triangle at roughly, 60 cents or so, roughly, if you want to play the breakout trade or the breakout investment.
Also interesting.
Yeah,
Paladin is next.
Paladin. Yeah, also one of the big winners. Again, it did take a little bit of a hit here since we got below. I have this blue supply and demand zone goes back like 15 years, and we dropped below that. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the arrangement with what's it called, the Canadian one,
Which
Fission.
fission, you
Yeah,
mean?
Fission. Yeah, exactly. If that has anything to do with it, because all of a sudden we started to gap down heavily here. I don't know. Maybe some people know why that is the case, but I don't. Um, but the matter of the fact is, we actually came all the way down. You can see this is the high from 2007, trend line all the way down, and we're actually testing it as we speak. So here is actually where you want to buy into PDN. You're buying the big retest, and as always, your stop loss, if you want to play with that, should be somewhere below uh, the big support trend line here. So if we start to dip below here, then that's when things get scary. But right here, roughly in this, $7 range here, I like it very much if you wanna buy into it here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has come down quite hard. We're down 60% from the highs. And as these big pullbacks, here we have a 55. So you can see they come around very often when it comes to uranium and basically mining investing overall. These big 50% pullbacks, they come, ever so often anyway. So we should find support here. If you want to play the breakout game, we have a little bit of a bull flag going on here, but that means we need to get it back above like $10. That's when
Yeah.
you have confirmed that little bull flag here. So basically, big retest, and we should be going higher here above 10. 11 maybe confirms the retest. So interesting here for Paladin.
Yeah.
Very interesting here. If you can see if on the monthly here, just to make it a little bit more. Let's remove some of the stuff here. You can basically see that's just a huge retest, and that's the ones you want to buy when you see them. So, yeah. Paladin looks really good here. So
Okay, so you would say among all those we mentioned, Paladin looks like a best buy.
yeah, major retest here. You're retesting and trying to confirm a 20-year trend line. That
Yeah,
is when you want to be buying in. And obviously, playing with stop loss and all that, that might be for a different video, but that is usually how things are working. And you can see we're starting a new month now. You can see we had a little bit of a bounce here from that retest. You can see we actually bounced somewhat
yeah,
nicely here, still on the daily. So right now it is holding, and that is what you're hoping for long term. So.
excellent. Let's move on. Next one is Alligator Energy,
That's a
AGE.
that's a great name, by the way. I love that name. It's it's so aggressive.
It's typical Australian
Yeah,
name.
it is. It's nice. I love that. It doesn't get more Australian than that, I guess.
Yeah,
Alligator. But yeah, jokes aside here, 10-year downtrend was broken, late 2020 and had a huge rally. And very similar to the Elevate, I think it was used. We are just in this long sideways, you know, triangle,
yeah,
basically waiting for either to break to the upside, which you normally do because you have the momentum. So more often than not, you're breaking to the upside. If not, again, then if you're coming down from that triangle here, you are targeting the lows from from the triangle, which, by the way, I think Energy Fuels did. It broke down here and actually tagged the lowest point in its triangle, and then it rallied all the way back up here. So again, it's not the end of the world. It just means that again, it's a little bit dangerous, but it could also just be a delayed push to the upside. But anyhow, if you break down from here and you have a position, taking the stop loss makes a lot of sense. Just wait for a better day, and the better day, in my opinion, is this little internal blue resistance here. If we can bounce here and get back above like 5 cents, that's again, in my opinion, a great reason to go along in this one here, with the expectations down the line to actually break out of the triangle. And then if you do, you are actually gonna do something like that for Alligator.
okay. Let's move to the final one.
Lotus,
LOT, Lotus. Yeah,
Lotus, yeah. This is also one chart that is somewhat messy. I think we look at Bannerman, also a little bit messy, not as precise. So we have the similar downtrend here broken again. 2020 was the big year for uranium. We rallied heavily, and now we tagged it one time here, roughly 44 cents. We tried again over here, and just like Bannerman, this hopefully that is a cup and handle pattern. The downside is we actually had this blue uptrend here, which was broken.
yeah,
And you can see we're right now struggling below the 30 weekly. We do have some order right now to the madness, and that will decide, in my opinion, the fate here of Lotus. And that's that little consolidation here. So we have the momentum down here, consolidating. Hopefully, we undo that little triangle here to the upside, and that's when we can actually see a move back to the big 44 again. Um, Obviously, breaking down, you'll have continuation from this move down here, the big break, and then you could actually see a lot lower prices for Lotus Energy. So a little bit of a big technical break here in June of 2024. That was not ideal by any means. But the plus side is still we haven't made any big lower lows. Not yet here, anyways. But ideally, we really want to hold that triangle
yeah,
and have it go to the upside, so you can actually confirm that this probably is that cup and handle, just like on Bannerman. So
yeah, yeah. Okay, this was our 10, but knowing you, you probably have something else prepared for us.
yes, just very quickly here. I will quickly show the guys who didn't see the URA chart from last week.
Yeah,
I think we could be very close. Again, we have to wait for confirmation and all that, good stuff here. And I have been cleaning up the charts just a tiny bit here. The 2021 highs, we are actually trying to confirm it as support. Again, we have tried 1, 2, 3 times. Hopefully, the fourth time will be the charm. If that's the case, you have this little blue triangle in here. So if we can start to confirm above 34, in my opinion, we are in that big next stage up to the upside where we are basically finally leaving that little cup and handle with an handle here, and we should see a lot of upside here for URA. So very exciting here. I don't think we have a lot of time here within that wedge left. We have basically December should decide, but I would be surprised if we stay that long, within that one here. But yeah. So, but if we break down, that's also a possibility. We have a big gap to fill down here at like 26. So that is the downside risk if we don't confirm here to the upside. But yeah, you do have again tons of cup and handles in this chart. By the way, it's really really funny to see. So yeah, that was a little bit of history for the URA.
Okay.
I have three ratios. In my opinion, when you have the mining sector. By the way, the URA has broken out against the metal, the uranium spot price. That is very, very important and very exciting. I showed that last week, by the way. I think people can check that one out.
Yeah.
And you can also see here that you have energy fuels breaking out, 3 years worth of trend channel here. We can make it red just so we can distinguish between. Now it doesn't matter, but anyway, you can see we are breaking out here. 30 weekly coming up nicely. So energy fuels here is having a good go at actually starting to outperform the metal. That is very important. I have the URA here as well. In October we had the URA also breaking out against the metal, and last I have chosen here is the MGA, the mega uranium, also breaking a 3-year. So again, mega uranium, if you measure that against the metal, is actually breaking out, and that is almost always a sign that you are in a bull market for the miners and the uranium sector overall. So very exciting here, especially if you can get that URA breakout, which I think will come due to all the ratio that is just breaking out all over the place. So
excellent.
Yeah, really cool.
That is great, Kasper. You can stop share screen
Sure.
because I want to thank you with your face in full screen. Buddy, thank you very much for this. As always, it was a great one. We will share it and publish it probably already tomorrow, so our people can see it. Thank you very much, and let's do this more often, but not on Sundays.
No, we'll find a different day for sure. But yeah, let's keep in touch. Every 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's a perfect fit, I guess.